So great to be here. So great to see the Harrisons, and so great to see that Josh is still wearing. Kids, it's lovely to see you. Welcome. Now off you go to the space that you love and adore. Just to say, it is actually really lovely to see you again. And also to say, it's lovely to see that you're still wearing the uniform. Absolutely. I cannot believe it. Some things have worn off well, but it's very rare to see me out of black. It's so good to be here. And as Josh has said, I run an organization called Ermos Place. Ermos is the Greek word for wilderness. I'm a lover of wilderness. I love the desert. I'm often in the desert at a monastery that some of you may know, called St. Andrew's Abbey, a Benedictine monastery in the high desert, which I often go to for a few days of silence and solitude. But the wilderness is also a spiritual place. It's a soul place. It's a place that can be disorienting, where we can find ourselves kind of challenged and turned upside down. But it's a place God uses for us to discover our true identity in Him, to discover who we are, truly who we are. And that's been my heartbeat as a pastor for about. And so it's been a long time coming. It's been brewing in my heart and in my soul for many years. And after the last episode of sort of ministry in a church, I decided to set myself free and risk at this age and stage doing a ministry based around that. So that's what Ermos Place is all about, is helping people discover their true selves, whether you're walking through wilderness or not. But to today, we're in the last of a series, the Psalms. Yeah. So what better way to end a series than on the most intimate, vulnerable, breathtaking prayers of the Old Testament. You know the Psalms, Josh would have taught you well, as a prayer book of the Bible. It's the prayer book that Jesus was shaped and formed by. And this psalm in particular is extraordinary. You could do 4 weeks just on this psalm. I won't do that to you. It explores God's omniscience. This is God's complete and infinite knowledge, God's omnipresence, His constant nearness and everywhere presence, and His omnipotence, God's unlimited power and capacity to create and sustain life. But it's not just abstract theology, it's deeply personal. The psalmist isn't offering doctrine from a distance. He's bearing his soul in poetic prayer. These are not just ideas to study, but truths to be lived. Psalm 139 can be embodied. You can ingest this psalm and let it form and shape you. So let's take a moment to just slow down and pray. Can I encourage you just to close your eyes for a moment or two? And if it helps, to take some deep breaths. Just be aware of perhaps where your mind is at. If you've already gone to the fair, can I invite you back? Present to slow down and let these words become a sanctuary. To let them reframe your sense of self. Let them transform you. Guide you into His. Where we can discover what it truly is to be known filled by God. Fill this space, our hearts. We leave here just that much more clear about. Pray this in your name. Amen. So this psalm speaks of a God who knew us before we were formed, who was with us in every moment, shaped us with care, tenderness, and intention, and who searches our hearts with love and justice. This is a profound and personal encounter with the presence of God, inviting us. Come on in. Take a pew. Not often you get to say that, Josh, in this country, is it? Take a pew. Yeah, take a pew. It invites us to consider the concept of being fully known, fully seen, and fully loved. It's a sacred meditation on belovedness. And if you let it, this psalm can speak directly to your deepest longings for identity, security, and belonging. In a world of ceaseless stimulation, you are about to cross the street and enter a sort of sensory overload. I confess I've never been to the fair. I know, mate, I can't do it. It's too much. Too much sound, too many people, too many rides, too much food, too much. But this is what I'm talking about. We are bombarded constantly by a ceaseless stimulation, a fragmented attention, where identity is shaped by performance, productivity, public image. And this psalm calls us out of that space. It calls us back to something unshakable and eternal. You are known and loved by God before you do or prove. You are known and loved by God before you do or prove anything. Your identity isn't rooted in image or output, but in essence. You're not a product of self-construction, but of sacred origin. You've been created. And you belong, not because you earned it, but because you are. And for those who, like me, carry trauma, this psalm offers something deeply healing. It provides a kind of space, a place you can return to find deep safety and deep security, where you can regulate in the deep safety and security of God. It reveals a God who meets us in the hidden and hurting places, who doesn't flinch at the dark, who sees and holds every thread of our story with tenderness and care. And so for the fractured heart, it can become a sanctuary of words that invite us to be fully seen and known by a God who loves us not from a distance, but from inside out. We no longer need hide. We no longer need to hide behind polished masks of pretense or performance. We can step out into the vulnerability of who we truly are. Do you remember that self? Are you familiar with that self? Psalm 139 takes us into the space where we can discover we are enough. You know that you're enough? You know that you're enough. In God's eyes, you are. So we begin with the words that reveal the omniscience of God. Psalm 139, 1-6. You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. You hem me in before and behind. You lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. Now, just to say that this isn't some sort of divine surveillance system. This is not a techno-authoritarianism. It's not about a God who's spying on us and data mining our lives. What David, the author of this psalm, is describing here is God's loving attentiveness. His loving attentiveness. The Hebrew word for know used here is yada. Is that how you pronounce it? Is it really? Did I get that right? Always got to check your Hebrew with this man around. You probably know that. Yada, a word found throughout the Hebrew scriptures that describes a deeply relational, covenantal, and intimate relationship. This is a word of intimacy. God knows everything about you, not just what you present, but your past, what you hide, what you fear, what you ache for. He knows it all. And in knowing all of this, he hems you in, behind and before. He even knows our thoughts from afar, our words before they leave our minds. And if you're anything like me, you might find that just a little bit concerning. Josh knows this only too well. We've got quite the history. He knows only too well that I suffer from what's known as mouth before mind syndrome. Does anyone else have that? Okay, yeah, there's a few of us that have that. Katie, you didn't put up your hand. I can't believe that. Mouth before mind syndrome. You know those moments when you think something and a part of you says, don't say that out loud. But before you've caught it, it's popped out. And then the world slows down and you suddenly think to yourself, oh my word, I wish I could just reel this back in right now. Can I just, you know that moment? Sometimes I've thought to myself, wouldn't it be lovely if the Lord knows that's about to happen? Wouldn't it be great if he could let us know? You know, just a little gracious text. Ash, this is the Lord. At 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, you're going to say this. Please don't. Love the Lord. Wouldn't it be great? But unfortunately, he doesn't do that. David tells us, nothing we do, think, or say is hidden from God. He knows us even better than we know ourselves. In fact, there's no one who knows you better. Absolutely no one. Your wife, your partner, your brother, your sister. No one knows God. As Augustine declared, God is closer. That's enough to dwell on. God is closer than I am to myself. So the question it invites us to consider is, do you know God like this? Realize he knows. Have you sensed that intimately involved? Can you allow yourself to be seen and known at this level of intimacy without fear, without masks? You can. David then moves on to God's omnipresence. He's inescapable, all-seeing, all-knowing, everywhere presence. Listen to these incredible words. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide. Your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me and the light become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. Now, this is not about trying to escape God in fear, as much as it sounds like perhaps David's done that once or twice. It's about coming to the realization that no matter where you find yourself, God is already there. It's not about hiding from God, but awakening to the truth that we are never hidden from him. His presence isn't reserved for just the mountaintop. He's not found just in the sanctuary. It's not just in the Holy of Holies. It's found, actually, it's found in the unraveling, in the ordinary, mundane moments we often overlook and miss. So God is there. Even in the chaos, the questions, the quiet ache, he is there. You don't have to clean yourself up to encounter this God. We just have to be present, because he is already present. Brennan Manning, great author, reminds us by saying this: you may not be aware of God's presence, but God is always aware of yours. How frustrating is that? And this isn't just about the external world. David's reflecting on the internal world. It's not just about the landscape, it's about the inscape. He's not just describing geography, he's naming the terrain of the soul, the valleys of grief that we go through, the wilderness of confusion ourselves. The night sky of longing, the dark night of the soul, the dark corners we hide even from ourselves. Even there, and I'd want to suggest especially there, God is present. Luminous darkness, the mystics call it. That in the midst of your deepest, darkest moments, you can get a glimpse of God who is there. And I often say this, I would never want to go back to that space again, but I wouldn't have missed it for the world. There is no part of our life where God cannot go. Quote the great philosophers Martha Reeves and the Vandellas, Nowhere to run to, baby, nowhere to hide. John declares this, doesn't he? The light shines in the darkness, but the darkness cannot and will not overcome it. And yet somehow, so many of us think we can hide from God. Has anyone tried to hide? The rest of you are liars. Surely we've all tried to hide. Surely we've all had those moments when we try to hide. I don't know why it is we think we can hide from God. It's a bit like a child who plays hide and seek. Remember how children do that? You say, count to 10, and, you close your eyes, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can hear the scuttling off of little feet running everywhere. I've got 3. They're adults now, they won't play this. And then you say, coming, ready or not. You can't see me. It's really obvious. It's really obvious. Children don't think you can see them in the obvious places. But this is what we do. It might be our careers, it might be business, it might be success, it might be addictions. Maybe we've curated a version of ourselves we want others to see, and we do the same with God. We curate a person. This is the God person. This is the person I present to God. But he sees through all of that. Or we simply run into our self-made panic rooms in the hope of not being seen. What David's talking about here, and I'd want to suggest perhaps via the tried and tested ways of running from God, he's suggesting it's not the running and hiding, it's the miracle of getting there and being found. It's the miracle of realizing we can't escape God. Why am I even trying anymore? That end of the road you get? I'm sick and tired. Thank goodness God is here. So let me ask you, is there a place in your life that feels too far gone, too hidden, too painful? Even there, the promise of this psalm is, even there, presence can hold. His light will. You are never beyond the reach of God. Next, David turns to God's omnipotence. For you created my inmost being, he declares. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to pass. These words describe the wonder of God's creative power. A power that knits us together, shapes us with tenderness, that forms us and breathes life into the dust with purpose and love. No one here is an accident. You weren't assembled on a conveyor belt of randomness. Imagine dwelling on this. You were imagined by the creator of it. Imagined by the earth. Handmade love. Formed with intention, purpose. Known before your first breath. Now I know only too well the struggle to accept who I am and what I've been given. Maybe like you, your body is showing signs of age. Like me, my body is showing signs of age. Gravity is taking control. Late night in and out visits that I don't do anymore. I did do one the other night, actually. I get up in the morning, I've done nothing, my body hurts. Hurts. Does that happen to you, Josh? You get up? I look in the mirror, I know the face, I just can't place the name. But this body, your body, take a moment, look at your body. Look at your body. It was created by God. It belongs to Him. And He calls it wonderful. It's so wonderful that He has chosen to indwell it. This God that created the heavens and the earth, that breathed life into your being, loves your body enough that it's become a temple of His presence, dwells. So if it's good enough for Him to dwell there, no? If it's good enough for Him. So our identity begins not with what we do, how we feel, or what others say about us, but the fact that we were created by God in love and for love, formed with intention, marked with dignity, and called very good before we ever achieved or proved. We were called. Original blessing. This is brilliant. Our truest being is not in performance but presence, not striving but being. We are not defined by what we produce, but by whose image we bear. And that's the game changer, particularly in the world we live in. And finally, after all of this incredible meditation on who God is and who we are in Him, the all-knowing, all-powerful, everywhere presence of God, David closes with two of the best ways of praying you can pray. Search me, God. Know my heart. Test me and know my anxious. See if there is any offensive way in me and lead me in the way everlasting. The psalm ends where it begins, knowing. A willing surrender and invitation to intimate transformation. After describing the majesty of who this God is. Know me. David doesn't just want comfort, he wants change. So he opens the door to parts of himself he doesn't yet fully understand. Search me, know where there is anxiety and stuff that maybe you know that stuff? Search me. Know that stuff. Help me with that stuff. This is not a fearful prayer, it's a freeing one. It's a sanctuary to enter and a way of being known. And it tells us the deepest truth about you. You are known intimately. You are held even in your weakness. You are formed not just once in the womb, but again and again and again and again. You are becoming. Right now, you are becoming. You are not forgotten. You're not too far gone. You are loved. And you are being led into. So I want to invite us for a moment to meditate. Invite us just to be still Again, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes before you rush off to the manic craziness that is the fair. Take a moment to be still. Perhaps some of what I've said may have hit a spot in you, caused you to reflect for a brief moment. As you breathe, become conscious of your breath. Take some deep breaths. Aware that you are breathing. Aware of your breath. Breathing in, breathing out. The gift that God has given you of breath. God knowing. God knowing vulnerable places. Nowhere you can run to. God isn't. So if you places in you where you have run, invitation. Your identity over many years. Deep. One true person. God imagine. Fights healing. Lord, would you our heart? Would you test us and know our anxious? Would you see if there's any offense? And then would you lead us